$50 billion. You guys correct him every morning, and then he goes back the next day and says the same thing. So I don't know. We'll try some charts and see if that helps. But before I get to that, let me just say something underscoring what I heard earlier at the top of the show. The idea that we are effectively asking our ally, who was attacked, to pay the equivalent of the reparations that we asked Germany to pay in World War I is kind of mind-boggling. We're here to help these people not get money back, and as the British Prime Minister said, it is not correct to say all of the European money is loans. There may be some loans in there, but most of it, just like us, is aid. But in any event, here are the numbers. Once and for all, maybe Donald Trump will pay attention today. He claims $350 billion. The actual number from the Kiel Institute Impartial Observer is $120 billion. He talks about how Europe only spent $100 billion. Actual number, $138 billion. These are the numbers once and for all as we sit here today. Now let's look at how we're doing compared to other countries, and it's kind of interesting because you do have three countries, small countries. They happen to also be close to Moscow. That's not a coincidence. Spending over 2% of their GDP on aid to Ukraine. Then you get to a whole bunch of other countries that are kind of in the rough zone of about half a percentage point of their GDP. Germany a little bit higher than the U.S., France, UK, Italy, and so on. So we are right in the middle of the pack. We are actually number 17. I didn't list all the countries. We are number 17 among the countries providing aid when you measure it against our gross domestic product. And these are also the numbers. So we're not doing anything extraordinary.
Yeah, that's fascinating, Steve. Especially, you look obviously Europe, the Balkan states doing so much better, giving so much more, and as you said, for good reason. I'm surprised that Germany is even above us because the German government has been criticized for quite some time for not doing more, but there they are. I want you to walk us through another part of this that is so important. When we talk about the 120 billion that we have given Ukraine, a lot of that has gone to U.S. factories, U.S. workers, U.S. And the U.S. economy, because a lot of the work supports American businesses.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. So let's take a look over here at 2 points. The first, the one that you're referring to, it's been estimated, that as much as 70% of our aid has actually been spent in the United States. So that is money that is here. It's not even necessarily in the form of aid. We've just literally sent them equipment, sent them ammunition that we have then replaced using our money from U.S. factories, U.S. workers. I want to make one other point about this, and then I'll get back to that, which is that we have committed only another $5 billion at this moment of aid. And you remember, and it was shown on the other chart, how up and down our aid commitments have been. It's been a fight with the Senate every time a president has tried to get it. The EU has promised another $121 billion of aid. So if they actually do this, their aid will be vastly greater than ours. Back to the question of where the money is spent. Here's a map of the United States. All these dots represent amounts of money spent in different congressional districts. There are 9 congressional districts up here in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania and so forth, where over $1 billion has been spent in each of these 9 districts. 6 of them happen to be held by by Democrats, 3 of them held by Republicans. And then you have the slightly lighter color, and those are 500 to $1 billion. And I do, Joe, you might be interested in this, want to point out one specific district, which is Florida 1, right here, which is getting $500 million to $1 billion of this money back into their district.
So, Steve, let's turn to a different topic now. We had New York Governor Kathy Hochul on the show yesterday making a passionate defense of New York City's new congestion pricing plan. We know, though, that President Trump and the Trump administration have looked to kill it. It's now going to be in the courts. The governor has not abided by what the White House wants to this point. So tell us here, who's right? Is congestion pricing working?
Well, first, let's frame this on a slightly broader context, because here you have a Republican government which says that they believe in local control and states' rights. The federal government should not interfere locally. In fact, HUD just the other day is repealing some regulations from the Biden administration aimed at influencing zoning in communities. And now they're turning around and diving into New York congestion pricing. What this has to do with Washington, I have no idea. But more importantly, as the governor said, and I'm going to show you the numbers, it is in fact working. So it's only been a month or so, but what have we seen? We've seen a drop of 8 to 12% in the number of vehicles entering this zone below 60th Street in Manhattan. We've seen a drop in half of traffic injuries. We've seen transit ridership on the MTA and Metro North rise by 7 to 10%. We've still seen people coming into the zone, so it's not like Broadway was very worried about people not coming. Individual visits by people in the zone is actually up. School bus arrivals are down, and equally importantly, it has generated $50 million in just a month for transit improvements in the city of New York. And so that obviously over the course of a year could be as much as, say, $600 million each year. And then you look at travel times. I don't know, some gremlin put these green arrows in, ignore those. But basically, if you look at all the ways into New York, Holland Tunnel from New Jersey down by more than half, Williamsburg Bridge from Brooklyn down by about 30%, Queensboro Bridge from Queens down by about a half, Lincoln Tunnel more than a half, and so on. And I can tell you, I've noticed it too, is a significant drop in traffic in New York, which means less pollution, it means fewer cars. It is one of the best things that's happened in New York in a long time. The governor deserves a big shout out for putting this in place and faced a lot of opposition from commuters from New Jersey and all kinds of people, but she did the right thing. And why the administration